Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And if you've been watching this channel at all, you've kind of seen the saga of this Hello Kitty bag. It's a small pencil bag. A little backstory why this keeps showing up is I spent a fortune on this thing back when my daughter was in like 2nd grade and absolutely had to have it. And by then, or at that time, the Hello Kitty pencil bags were I thought, expensive for what you were getting. And that's also back when kids used pencils. My daughter's about to graduate from college, but I still have this Hello Kitty bag. She doesn't want it. And I paid a fortune for it, so I'm going to use it for something. And I've been trying to use it as a tool bag, but I think I'm going to retire it to something a little more domestic, like a EDC survival kit or something. But I wanted to show you kind of the progression to where I am now, how I got here. I started out using all kinds of different bags. I love the zipper bags like Milwaukee, and in fact once they started making them in different shapes besides just the standard, I really kind of adopted them for a lot of car use. In fact, you can load these up with longer ratchets and a long socket rail and some other longer tools and drop it right down, say where your jack is, or along some of the little nooks and crannies that aren't usually all that useful in some of the pickups and trucks and SUVs. And I like the smaller ones. You get all the performance of a zip tool or a zip bag, just in a small form factor, so you can actually subdivide your tools. Like I've got sockets in this one. And then I've pulled out the SAEs or the metrics into different containers, so I don't have to deal with all of them. But that's a possibility. I've used multi-zip pouches like this. They're great, except they're not really thick, and you've got to have that internal thickness sewn in. And I learned that when I tried it with this Right in the Rain, where I was dropping screwdrivers and pliers and stuff in. Unless it's made for thickness, you kind of struggle closing it. But also, the flatter it is, the harder it is to keep your tools organized, especially if you're balancing it on an engine or on the ground or something like that. This is great for organizing, but it's a thin thing, so the moment you put something fat in, then this pocket doesn't work very well. Great idea, but not for tools. I started looking at some of these kind of tactical pouches. This one by Spec Ops. I like the USA made, etc. But again, I kind of ran into the same thing. It's really not designed, it's more of an administrative pouch, but it's not really designed for constant use. It's more, it seems to be emergencies. If this is the pocket and you pile all your stuff in there, you got to dump it all out to get the tool you want. But otherwise, they're great designs, and they've got that built-in thickness. I went to something thicker. I was using this pouch. This is a 511. They make great stuff. Nice and thick. Little on the too big side. The next size they've got is about this size, half that in the same pouch. I actually have one of those I use for first aid kit. But then what I really needed was something more in this line with the thickness. This is a Timbuk2. I use this for computer cables, connectors, stuff like that. I like that it was clear. I don't know how durable that is in the long run for tools. I've been using it for years with other stuff. But this turned out to be similar size, but again, it's more of a dump pouch here, or an envelope. So it's a little bit harder to spread it open and use it as a table as well. I played around with this Yeti. I pulled this off one of my Yeti coolers. I realized that it's the same design, same shape. This was actually a winner. I like little Velcro or stretch pockets, but again, not really designed for tools. I tried different thicker zip pouches, played around, and then finally settled on this Maxpedition here, which is their pocket. And I really like the double zippers. I like that I can open it up. But for tools, this wasn't necessarily the greatest layout, but I could make it work. I thought about putting straps here to reverse these. I wish they went the other way, because this is where it's really handy. But what I ended up doing is, as I was thinking, back on my original kind of Hello Kitty, this was just such a handy size. I mean, there's just something about that size and that shape. So I finally went and got the Maxpedition. It's kind of the slim fatty pocket, and this is it right here, and it's very similar in size to my Hello Kitty. Double zippers, which I found is important because sometimes you want to keep it a little bit closed, sometimes you just want to pull it open. If you have double zippers and they're a little bit off, you can grab these things and pull them open. That's hard to do, but I'm exploring putting the tools in this. It does have some built-in depth, which is really good. That's something else I learned when I started repurposing some of these kits here. Depth like this is not as convenient, because if I drop all these tools in here, then which one? Well, you kind of have to dump them all out. This is a lens case, which I played around with as an option. So I thought I'd move. I've got a ton of Maxpedition pouches, but I didn't have this particular one, and it turns out it's probably going to be the one that I end up using kind of as my quick go kit. It holds, I even have a little bit extra room, so even though I just bought those, I could probably fit a larger one in. Got my PB Swiss driver, multi-driver. Somebody had asked, why don't I adjust the pivot? I played with the pivot on this thing, and I think it's the detent is just too strong, and when I loosen the pivot, then the blade wiggles. Plus the pivot, you got to get a Torx on both sides, so it's a real pain when you try to break free the bolts. But anyway, once it's open, it's a knife, and that's what I want is the function when it's open. I'm not as concerned about it being closed or in the opening process here. But anyway, so this is where I'm at right now. I got this for about 30 bucks on Amazon. Prices go up and down, a few pennies one way or the other. But this seems like, again, about that right size. It's got the depth I want. The double zippers, I can fold it open so I don't have to have my tools spill all over or dump it out. It's got plenty of room for full-size tools if I want, so I might make some changes there. But also, I'm trying to come up with a more useful way of using these spaces. And I don't know what all people do. Maybe stick a Band-Aid in there or something. But pretty much everything I have is more vertical. So these are really handy. What they might want to do, I don't know if Maxpedition's listening, is have some sort of a grid system in here that doesn't force me into something this size. Or if I stick something big in here, it snugs these up, which makes it a little bit harder to use. So it's kind of an either or. It does have one long zip pouch here, or zip pocket. That's great, and it's also has a, if I pull these out, a little pouch right here, a little key ring thing, tab here, and another one here. But I'm going to start exploring this because what I ultimately want is a small toolkit, roughly this form factor. I'll call it the Hello Kitty form factor, or the HK. And I think a more durable one, little more external features, and possibly maybe put a magnet there, I don't know. But anyway, something that I can just grab, and I've got the useful, most important tools in one spot. So if I'm headed out, jumping in somebody else's car, going on a road trip, whatever, I can have this with me. It's basically like an EDC toolkit, but of serious tools. So that's where I'm at, and right now, even though I got a ton of other Maxpedition size things and I use them for all kinds of stuff, this Skinny Pocket seems to be the right size, the right shape, the right depth, and if I can figure out how to work the internals on it, it's going to be the right pack for my needs. Well, at least until something else comes up. With that, Doc out.